Hello guys, welcome back to another video. So as promised, today I will be doing a bike check on my Lexon Mission bike. So without further ado, let's dive in. I wanted to build a road bike. I actually wanted a road bike with modern characteristics. The bike must have disc brake, internal cable routing. Finally, it must have electronic shifting. I wandered around the internet and found this bike frame. It is called Lexon Mission. I found this in Shopee. I bought it for quite a bargain price. I will sum up all the prices at the end of the video. Measurement is actually 47 centimeters, seat tube height, and then the reach is around 520 millimeters. I am 165. Keep that in mind. I actually have a short leg, a longer upper body. So this bike, this frame actually is not like all good and all. There are some imperfection, I would say. There are like excessive carbon on the bottom bracket area, and also the mounting for the brake caliper, they do not cover it, so it is like overspray with paint. So, like you have to prep it a bit before building up the bike to make sure nothing goes wrong. Other than that, the bike is very good. It is advertised to be made from T1000 carbon grade, which is like very stiff, and I do ride this bike. I do feel it very stiff, and it also got like the modern features of the aero, elongated head tube, drop seat stays, very chunky bottom bracket area. Moving on to the wheel set. The wheel set is from a brand called Riot. It's just like a generic carbon Chinese wheel set. Riot is actually like a sub-brand of Lexon, basically the same like Shimano Pro. So I used this brand in the past actually for my rim brake build, and I have no issues whatsoever. So the spec of this wheel is that it is 55mm depth. The spoke is actually an aero spoke called the pillar spoke, steel spokes. And for the hub, it is actually using the ratchet system, basically the same as a DT Swiss system. And the ratchet is a 36 tooth ratchet. And for the tires, I am using the Goodyear Eagle Super Sport R. This tire is very fast rolling in my opinion. The grip is really good, but keep in mind that this tire does not have tread, so riding in the rain is a bit sketchy. And also this is a race tire basically, so it does not last that long. It's wear out quite fast, and the puncture protection is also quite good. I do got puncture with this tire, but not as much as I think you get. This wheel actually is compatible for tubeless, but I am currently riding TPU inner tube. The TPU inner tube that I am using is actually called the Think Rider. So far, this TPU tube is very well. I do got puncture in the past before, but this is one of the great TPU tubes you should consider. It is very light and very good in my opinion, because riding disc brake, so no heat will be transferred from the rim bed to the tube, so it is a good thing. It is a bit riskier if you are using TPU tube with rim brake. Comfort is one of the key things we should consider when setting up our bike. For the saddle, I'm using like a very cheap saddle. It is a full carbon saddle. I bought it from Shopee like very cheap for around 70 ringgit like that, I guess. I forgot. This is like a very old saddle of mine. It is surprisingly comfortable because the carbon fiber do flexes when you put weight on it. So, but I do not recommend you guys to try out this saddle for like a very long ride. The longest ride I use this saddle for is around 150 kilometers. But keep that in mind, you should have like a proper bib short. A proper bib short does help with the comfort of the saddle. Moving on to the handlebar. The handlebar is also from Riot actually. This is called the Riot Thin Line. The spec of this handlebar is the stem is 120 millimeters with -10 degree, and then the width of the handlebar is 380 millimeters. That is the measurement at the drops but on the hood it is actually 360 millimeters, so the bar is actually flat out a little bit. I found this is very helpful in getting yourself aero because you could really decrease that surface area, and the bar is very stiff, and it is also compatible with like giant OD2 stereo tube. So all the parts, all the spares, the spacer is given, whether you are running a 55 or 45 internal or external cable routing, all the parts spares is available when you purchase this handlebar. Moving on to the drivetrain of this bike, I am using the Shimano 105 Di2 R7100 group set. This is because I actually wanted to use electronic group set. I choose Shimano because I wanted the group set to be reliable. I actually wanted to buy like the L2 or the EDS TX, but I just don't want to gamble it. So I bought this Shimano just for the sake of mind. This group set works very well. It does not have like the button on top of the hoods, but I don't use it at all. I'm just like a weekend warrior rider only, not like I'm racing full time or whatsoever. For the cassette, I'm using an 11 to 34 tube. I think it's a good range of gear for the flats and also the climbs. Crank, I'm not using the 105 crank. I'm actually using the Magin PESP 505 crank. This is a power meter crank, actually from my old bike. The crank length is 165 millimeters. I paired with the Shimano 105 5800, so like the previous chain ring. I took that from my old bike also. The gearing is a 5339, which is standard, so I think that with a 5311 at the back, really good on the flats, and also for the 39 and the 34 is also enough for me for the climbs. And then the pedal I'm using is the Ultegra pedals. And what else? This brake rotor, I'm using the Shimano MT800, which is from the mountain bike range. I'm using an Elite Rocco carbon bottle cage. Finishing off that, I'm using a Wahoo Element Bolt computer. I just use that because I really like the color of the Element Bolt, and also the form factor is very small, very cute in my opinion. So what I like about this bike is actually that this bike really holds speed very well. This is an aero bike actually. This bike is very stiff, so when you put the power down, this bike just goes very well. The position of this bike is also, you have to keep in mind, this is a road bike and an aero bike, so the position is a bit aggressive. So if you are looking for like endurance road bike, this is probably not bike for you. What I dislike about this bike is basically the stiffness. Don't get me wrong, the stiffness is good, but for a like very long ride, you does feel the fatigue in your legs, your arms and your body. So probably I'm going to change the saddle. I think that changing the saddle could really helps with the comfort issues. It looks different from the other bike. Usually we see bikes Specialized, Trek and all, like the mainstream brand, and then you see this bike just something different, I guess. So that is all for my bike check. For the longevity of the bike, only time will tell. I will make an update video in the future to tell you guys if this bike is okay or not. But so far, I've been riding it for about 6 weeks. This bike got no issues, no creaking whatsoever. Very good in my opinion. But there are like those issues that I mentioned before, a bit of sanding on the bottom bracket and also the brake mounting area, so it is flat. So that wraps up my bike check video. If you are interested in a similar build, I will give the link down below to check this bike out. And for the pricing, I will put it on the screen so you guys can see how much I spent on this bike build. If you guys got any upgrade suggestion, just feel free to comment down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. So I see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.